Life moves fast, but here we hit pause. Welcome to Foxtails, a place where chaos fades and stories take over. Join us as we explore books that transport us from fantastical realms to heart-pounding mysteries to swoon-worthy romance to stories that make us feel those real-life connections. I'm Jess.
And I'm Danny.
It's time to grab your favorite drink, find a quiet spot, let's turn the page and disappear for a while.
You know what's interesting?
Do share.
Is how many times we said interesting on the last episode.
Not just the last episode, the last 2 episodes.
It's terrible. I went back and listened, and you're editing and you have to listen to yourself talk, which is terrible to begin with. But then you listen to how many times you say things repetitively, and interesting is one of them.
It's so bad. I think it really should be a drinking game that people do when listening to our first 2 episodes of The Fourth Wing. Go back, listen to them. Every time we say interesting, take a shot. You're going to be hammered by like 5 minutes in.
Yeah, they'd be schmammered. Their husbands be walking in and be like, what is going on? But also, it's very, it's a work in progress, people. We're working on this. We're trying to get things moving in a certain direction. So maybe they probably don't want to go back and listen because of how many times we said interesting.
That's true. Save yourselves and just don't.
Just move forward with us. That's all we're asking. Speaking of moving forward, we are trying to do something a little bit different in the future. We're going to hang in there for Fourth Wing, doing it this format, but we have some exciting new books coming up and a different way we're going to approach it. And I think it's going to take a good turn. I'm excited for something a little bit different.
I'm super excited, even more excited about the books that we're going to be reading.
Oh yeah, me too. The list is great. And I will get into that later, but today we'll focus on our Fourth Wing, I guess.
And we're at a good part in Fourth Wing. So
absolutely. In fact, I was thinking of the song of the episode for this week.
Oh, and, finally.
Well, I know I didn't contribute the last 2, but I have it in me to contribute. I just haven't. This specific section, I think Halsey's finally is such a perfect fit for what's going on in this book. Just do yourselves a favor, go listen to it. Halsey's one of my favorites. I absolutely love her. And this song in particular, repeat. And I had listened to it and it came on when I was reading these chapters and it couldn't fit more perfectly. Do you agree?
I just want to say, you told me to go listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike Sign of the Times, I did.
Okay, here we go.
And I do think it fits in perfectly, but I think this Halsey finally is for Fourth Wing what Sign of the Times is for Project Hail Mary for me. So
okay,
it just holds that power, and I agree it fits in, but maybe just not as extreme as you.
Okay, fair enough. But I love Halsey.
Same. I love Halsey. Nightmare's my favorite.
Okay. Oh, good choice. Mm-hmm. But I think that just because I love her so much and this song fits so perfect, I was way more into these chapters and I was like, oh my God, it's perfect.
That might be it. Like, I love Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, this is the song. This fits perfectly. This is great. And I think it's to each their own. And I'm sure somebody else out there thinks that our choices are terrible because they have their own idea. But that's okay.
That's all right. They can disagree with me all they want. I don't care. But I do think that the song is the lyrics. Just go listen to the lyrics. I don't need to go into this anymore, but go listen to the lyrics. It's perfect. And if there was a movie, this would definitely be in it.
You know, on Rebecca Yaros's Spotify playlist, this is actually not on it, but that's just me. Sorry.
Okay, well, she's wrong too. Just kidding.
You're right. The author is wrong.
Just kidding.
We're going to take a minute to recap a little bit. So going back to the beginning, we know Violet is our main character. She is at Basgiath War College, not by her own choice. This is something very much chosen for her by her mother. We understand that she is weak physically, but she is really proving to be very intelligent herself. studying as a scribe her entire life, and she is showing really how powerful she can be just using her brain. She is bonded to not one dragon, but two, we learned last time, which is super exciting. Something that has never been done, but also learned that the dragons rule all and their decision stands. And they said that she gets two dragons. So we have Taryn and Andarna are her two dragons. We see signets showing up. That's a special power that people have. But Violet is not showing up yet, even though she is getting closer and closer to Taryn and strengthening that bond. And we also see that Violet realizes that maybe everything is not as it seems.
And that's kind of where chapter 21 picks up. Violet now has her shadow, which, we're using metaphorically, which is Liam. And Liam literally follows her everywhere. He's there to protect her, kind of just be the all-seeing eye for everything, just to make sure Violet doesn't run into any problems. And of course, Xaden is the one who set this all up. But as Liam is following her, Liam and Violet start to develop, I don't know if we'd quite call it a friendship at this point, but they're definitely opening up with each other. They're becoming more comfortable with each other. And in this process, Liam is explaining to Violet what has happened with the rebels and what actually happened with the rebels way back when.
I think that they are really developing that a trust bond. I think that Liam is really showing himself trustworthy to Violet, and Violet is kind of becoming more vulnerable with him, asking him questions, curious about his background because she doesn't know a lot. She knows that he is considered a rebel, as is Xaden, and he also has a very strong connection with Xaden that we're unaware of.
Right. And we learn, like I was saying, a lot about the rebels and the past. One major thing that I took away from this is that the rebels when the rebels were executed, their parents, so these are the rebels' children that are in Basgiath right now. Their parents were all executed, and the children were sent to foster homes. And when these children were given no choice in life, and they were told that they must become writers, it was kind of like their sentence for the punishment of their parents being rebels, which is very interesting to punish the kids. And they had been given a very hard path in life. And I think this whole thing was set up so that way the rebels would not succeed. If you're chosen to be a writer at the very beginning, there's not much room for success. So I feel like political hierarchy, whatever it was, government system that set this up, we're counting on the rebel children to kind of fade off and die.
I agree. And this was a really powerful moment in the book for me because in this conversation with Liam and Violet, I kind of feel that Liam was like, well, what do you think happened to the children after their parents were dead? And I don't think it's something that she thought of. In her life growing up, she knew that there were rebels. She knew that they deserved to die. Now, knowing that as like, is it an actual fact? No, but in her family, that fact was they deserved to die. And that was the end. But there is so much more than just we executed the rebels. There's an entire group of children now that do not have homes as a result of this execution and now are sent into this lifestyle that, like you said, they did not choose. They were sent with the expectation that they would die off.
And we also learned too that Xaden plays a big role in this leadership in the rebels because he was the oldest of the children from the rebels. So he kind of takes on this parenting role of all these kids of the rebels. I wish that they had a name for that group because we were just calling them the kids of the rebels, but that's what they are. And I guess they're considered rebels themselves. But he takes on this leadership role and he's kind of acting as if the parent of all of these foster children, essentially. And I think that's why Liam has such a strong allegiance to Xaden. He appreciates what he has taken on as being the oldest and how he has tried to guide the rest of these kids to survive becoming writers.
Right. And it really validates what Violet was seeing before in the secret meetings. And those were not just secret meetings. Like these are people that Xaden feels responsible for.
Yeah.
And he feels like it is his duty to make sure that they can be successful because the world has other plans for them. And he is really teaching them that they could be better than that. Moving forward through this revelation of Liam's conversation with Violet, we go to some sparring that happens, and we'll just say that Xaden is sparring as well, and she notices him, you know, without a shirt.
His physique.
His
Because,
physique.
he's apparently perfect in all ways.
I just imagine, if it was me, because I would never be in a sparring gym, so that's never going to happen. But if it was, and I was in this space, and I'm just all of a sudden this angel of light takes his shirt off.
Angel of light. Oh my god.
Of darkness. I don't know.
Okay, go on.
Takes his shirt off. I'm gonna just be stopping whatever I'm doing and just stare.
Okay, that's not awkward at all. Like super dorky girl in the corner staring at this guy.
Okay, everyone knows he's good looking. She's not the only one staring.
That's true. That's true. She's not the only one noticing the looks. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not a gym rat at all. I hate going to gyms. And honestly, any public form of exercise, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would rather be in my house working out and sweating like crazy than have to be outside or in a gym doing any of it. I'm just not that person.
I agree 100% with you.
Not that they had a choice, but just a little side note.
But they're sparring, and Jack notices. We all know who Jack is. Hate him. He is on my bad side to begin with, but the fact that he tried to mess with a little dragon just puts him on my hate radar, and so he's already the worst person in the entire world. It doesn't take a lot to get on that list, but he got on really fast.
It's amazing how long he stayed on that list and you haven't moved on to somebody else. So that tells you a lot about Jess.
Anyway, as he's running away, Violet notices that Xaden is covered in scars. Well, his back is covered in scars. And I think she is really starting to connect the dots on how much Liam shared with her and that connection of how much he really has done for the rebel children.
Yes, I think that she's starting to see that Xaden paid a price for possibly a group of people, and he's taking on a lot more than what meets the eye. And so I think this also contributes to her attraction to him because she can see that there's more than what meets the surface. There's an underlying story. There's something going on she doesn't know. She's curious. It just all the things. Now I think she's very intrigued by it. And because, she's bonded now with the Xaden forever, I think that makes her more invested in his backstory, and she actually cares about it now, whereas before it was kind of that warning, stay away from him, we don't know we know he's a rebel, we don't want to be involved, but now she's invested in investigating the truth. And this bond that they have, we know that it's also between the dragons, and unfortunately, since they're all bonded together, there's a lot of times where Xaden and Violet are channeling their dragons at, let's say, not so appropriate timing.
So we see Tarn and Scale, those are Violet and Xaden's dragons, are having a, shall we say, steamy situation.
Okay, you stole that word. You stole that word 100%. I stole it from somebody, and then you stole it from me. But yes, steamy is the appropriate word.
You could elaborate if you would like.
We'll just leave it at steamy.
Okay, so Taryn and Scale are off on their own, and Violet is beginning to channel Taryn's feelings, and she sees herself desiring those around her, such as Liam, and she has previously never experienced any sort of attraction with him. And the fact that she's like sitting in her room and she's like, oh my God, this hot guy's right outside my door. There's a lot that needs to happen right now. She's realizing that maybe this is not just all her, that it's possibly coming from somewhere else.
And I think that freaks her out. So she runs out of her room to escape before she does something that she regrets, because her and Liam have developed something nice now, and she doesn't want, I think, to act on these emotions she knows aren't her own. This is just what she's channeling from her dragons, and so she leaves quickly. Exit stage left very quickly.
I don't think at first she realizes that they're coming from Taryn, though. I think
No.
she's just suddenly like is overwhelmed with these feelings
Yes.
and is really freaking out and takes off.
Agreed. Well, when she takes off, unfortunately, she runs into somebody who doesn't help with those feelings.
Unfortunate or fortunate?
I'm
think
gonna go
fortunate.
That's true. Okay, good point.
Like
Fortunately.
of all people, like I'm feeling these things. Like I could have ran into Dane.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Or I could run into Xaden way better. And
yes, no.
She runs
you're
into
right.
Xaden.
You're right. And Xaden, I think, is having a little fun in this moment. I got to be honest with you, because he feels those emotions too, but he has learned how to block out the feelings of the dragons, and Violet hasn't learned that skill yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he attempts to teach her how to block out these feelings and to focus on other things and to bring those to the forefront of her mind. But in the midst of all this,
he does a good job. Like she's a very good student. I think there's more.
There is definitely more. And through all of this, emotions are high. And finally, a kiss.
It's the moment Danny's been waiting for.
It is the moment.
The Halsey song is screaming in her head.
It's a choir going off right now.
This is the moment that she texted me and was like, "Oh my God, this is the song!" And you had to read the lyrics to me and point out how it fits this scene perfectly.
I did, but it is so perfect. It is so perfect. And I was very excited at this point because we've told you about our past ventures and book clubs, and romance was definitely what we liked, and we wanted to venture off into something more. To see a little glimpse of it in this book, I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. And I think that this scene was very well done because it's just the perfect amount of leaving you to want more to happen between the two of them.
True. We want more. They share a kiss, and then we're left on edge hoping that something else happens.
And I also want to give a shout out to the author here because it's just enough romance in the book to where it's not, I feel, like a romance novel. It really focuses on dragons and this war college that they're in and everything. And she leaves tastes of romance throughout the book to, I think, appeal to a certain audience. And she's done it.
That is so true because this book was recommended to me from a person who has no interest in romance novels whatsoever. And so beforehand, they warned me of like, hey, there is a little romance in there, just so you know. And I'm like, well, I don't mind romance. And they were like, well, that's not really my go-to, but it's a great book. So
yeah, like I said, perfect sprinkling of romance in this novel. I mean, of course, we're expecting and hoping for more, but I think it's not the main focus, and the author does a really good job keeping it that way.
It also provides that slow burn, which for me is the best way to read a romance novel. Not that this is going to be romance. Maybe it will. I don't think it is going to be.
You're also hopeful. Don't lie.
I am. I love a good romance book, but I'm not expecting this to be a full romance book.
Okay, moving on because we could spend all day on this. So at this point, more people are starting to show their signets, one of which is Rhiannon.
Ah, yes. Hers is actually really cool. She can summon things, and she's like kind of showing it off, like how she's learning to summon small things at a time. And I thought I think it's really cool to see little snippets of people's signets and how they're showing up.
Absolutely.
But also at this time, Dane wants to have a chat about what happened when he kissed her. So this happened like a long time ago, dude. And he just wants to like check in when he kissed her, as well as what happened with Amber. And Violet is like, no, you need to start. She clearly states, she says, you need to start believing in me. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with you. Go, girl.
Well, also, Dane's like the ex-boyfriend that won't go away, even though he wasn't a boyfriend. Does that make sense? He constantly wants to bring up something that's happened, and you're just like, it's done. I'm over it. I've moved on. And he just wants to rehash things.
He's one of those people who are annoying, who don't realize that they're constantly annoying people.
Absolutely. That's 100% him.
And in his brain, I think he is doing it out of friendship for Violet. Friendship. I'm using quotations because this is his version of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in his mind, he's trying to show that loyalty to her. But at the same time, in everybody else's mind, he's just needs to be gone.
Well, I think at this point, Violet also has a lot going on. Now she's kind of a little bit romantically involved with Xaden. I'm going to call it romantically involved because that's what I'm hoping for. But she also has this new friendship with Liam. She's learning a lot about her dragons, plural. And she's growing physically. And she's still doing these sparring matches and she's still trying to survive. She's still trying to get through all this. But she learns that she's going to be sparring Jack. And Jack takes liberties in this sparring match. But Violet is much wiser than Jack and has already studied him. And Jack is just too dumb to see that this is a pattern with Violet. He's too stuck in his ways thinking, hey, I'm going to beat this bitch because she stabbed me. I am coming back for revenge. But Jack, you're not so smart. Violet has thought this out.
Mm-hmm.
So she learns that Jack has a slight allergy. And when I mean slight, I mean fairly severe allergy to oranges. So what did Violet use to get through this sparring match? Oranges.
I love it because he's taking liberties and nobody's doing anything about it. He's constantly taking advantage of this situation and he's stepping over the line, and she can just step right in just like she stabbed him. Well, guess what? Now you got oranges and you can't breathe. So take that.
You can't breathe. He actually ends up in their little medical center or whatever. And I'm trying to remember what happens. I don't quite remember, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. She's done with the sparring. She's won that sparring match. And Jack, you should be more careful about what you're consuming.
Have you seen that movie Love Hard? It's the Christmas movie on Netflix.
I have not.
Okay, it's really cute. You should. But she's allergic to kiwi. And like she drinks something with kiwi in it and her face gets like really puffy, or like Hitch when he's like allergic and his face gets all crazy. That's how I imagine Jack is in this moment. His face is just turning like crazy allergic reaction, and in my mind I'm
everything's
laughing.
like all poofy and he's drinking Benadryl out of a bottle like Will Smith.
Yeah.
Well, now she's got her victory. Woohoo. Go Violet. Go girl. But she also, kind of like Dane, I don't want to admit this, but she's kind of like Dane a little bit. She wants to rehash this kiss that she had with Xaden. She's very interested in what happened, and she wants to talk about it a little bit more. But Xaden isn't as receptive to this idea.
I think I'm kind of conflicted here. Yes, I want more to happen because I do. But at the same time, you have to consider this. I am tied to life with this person.
Yes.
And if I ruin it now, this is a life. It's a really shitty life. So like ruining it from the beginning, I understand Xaden's point of view.
I'm going to tie this into a little bit of my own life, and you're probably going to be like, oh my God, weird. But I feel I can sympathize with Xaden at this point. Because me and my husband were very good friends. In high school, for a very long time, we were friends. And to move beyond friendship, it could have gone very, very badly. And you see all the future potentials of what that could look like. You lose a good friend, it's different. You just all of a sudden have lost this person in your life moving forward because you do something like based off of emotions. And I think Xaden is more calculated because he has been with the dragons longer and he knows how emotions work with these dragons, and he's able to kind of decipher his own between his dragon and able to I guess harness those feelings a little bit more. And I think he's able to evaluate what are his emotions and what are his dragons. And Violet hasn't done that yet. So I think he's kind of like on a standoff point, like just give us a little bit to cool off here because I don't want to, like you said, jump into something that's going to change this bond that we're stuck with forever.
I think that's a really, really good point, is that he is definitely able to understand the difference between his dragon's emotions and his own.
Yes.
And knowing that Violet is newer to this channeling can definitely have an effect on her emotions where she is assuming more than what's actually there. So, okay, Xaden, I get it. Go you.
Through all this, Violet also runs into none other than Mama Sorengel.
Boo.
I know. And this part was very difficult for me because Mama Sorengel wasn't, when they saw each other and chatted briefly, it wasn't something that was, hey honey, how you doing? You're surviving? Great job. No, it wasn't that at all. It's, hey, can I study your dragon in Darna?
Yeah, it was. And we knew from the beginning her mom would not acknowledge her. She said it to her face. You're not going to be acknowledged until and if you succeed. But at the same time, you see your mom, and I just like to imagine, we live far away from our mom. We see her after a long period of time. Like, the first thing we want to do is like give her a hug, see how is life, like
Mm-hmm.
seeing your face, like you get that emotion of like really just happiness. And her mom's just like, cool dragon, can I study it?
Right.
Like,
Very
no
cold.
acknowledgement.
Right,
Yes.
right. No warm feelings, no fuzzies, no, oh, I'm so excited to see you, honey. Like, great job. I can't believe you have two dragons. Like,
Right.
nothing about her accomplishments. It's all about what can I do to further my position.
Right, right. And I appreciate that Violet is like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really starting to connect the dots and realize that there's so much more going on than what she was previously aware of, that she is not going to give her mom any liberties.
Oh, I agree totally. And I really love that segue into the next, the following chapter, which is the squad battles, because I feel like her emotions carry over into that after her little meetup with her
Yes.
mom.
Yes. I love this part. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the book so far, because we have our squad battles happening. The fourth wing necessarily isn't ahead. They're doing well, but they're not the best. And the final task is to acquire something that is advantageous to the enemy. So they have rule of this entire war college, and building off, I think I agree with you, that's building off of that emotion with her
Mhm.
mom, that they break into General Sorengale's office.
Yes, and I like how they separate out into groups and they kind of each choose their own squad to complete these challenges, or they're placed into a squad. I can't quite remember, but either way, they're in these like little squads where they go out to complete these challenges, kind of like a scavenger hunt. Their goal was to find this thing that's going, like you said, to be advantageous to the enemy. Well, as they're going around the table trying to pick out ideas and everything, I like that Violet is kind of keeping quiet to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she's been asked, hey, what's brewing in your mind? What do you got going in there? And she comes up with the idea to break into General Sorengale's office. And she explains to them that there's a map of the current, did you say Navarrian?
Navarian, yeah.
Okay, Navarrian military And she knows that it's in her mom's office. And so she says, that's what we need to do. This will win us the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And Violet, at this point, it's kind of like a slap in the face to her mom
Yes.
because of how she acted their last little meetup, but also brilliant. And she, again, is far surpassing, like, academically and intelligently beyond what other people are thinking of what they can do, because the other ideas people had were kind of lame, and she comes out with a banger of an idea.
I love how each squad is presenting what they've gotten over time, and when they let Violet present it and they ask what is your token? What did you bring? And she
Mm-hmm.
says that she has the map of the Navarrian army. Can you imagine? Like they knew. I believe
Yes.
in the book that they asked, and she says that she got it from General Sorrengail's office.
And they're
And
shocked.
yes. Can you imagine the feeling in that? Like, I felt it reading the book, the
Yes.
feeling in that room. And then she looks over and sees like, I can see the look on Xaden's face right now.
Yes. Yes. You could picture it. You could picture kind of how proud, and he's like, wow, you tricky, tricky gal. I think he's impressed by it.
Oh,
Everybody's
yeah.
impressed by it.
Oh, yeah.
But I think also this very good point in this book is that Xaden is realizing that Violet isn't tied to General Sorngal. In fact, she doesn't really have much of a relationship with her. And I think that this is a good setup for what could possibly happen in future chapters.
For sure. And it's a really great place to end because it has me questioning, like I already was questioning General Sorrengail to begin with.
Yeah.
And at this point in the book, and realizing things that we didn't know, such as the rebels and the rebels' children and the maps and things that they're sharing versus, things that they're not sharing. It just it makes me very curious as to what's to come. Do you have any predictions?
At this point I'm kind of at a pause because I'm really shocked with the events that have taken place so far. I didn't think that General I didn't I guess I wasn't thinking General Sorngal would make an appearance back in the book the way that
Hmm.
she has. So I think there's story development that's going to happen there. I don't know what, but I think that uh I'm shocked to have her back in the scene. I thought it would mostly just stay within the college and not go beyond that.
Hmm.
So definitely something involving General Sorngal.
I hope so. I agree with you. I think there's I didn't expect her like you in this part of the book. Maybe at graduation,
Yeah.
but at this point I wasn't expecting that. And so yeah, as far as what's to come, I
I ha-
really am
oh,
I'm unsure.
I have one more thing I'm a little bit nervous about. I'm nervous about something happening to Liam. Only
Oh.
because, he's kind of befriended Violet, and Rhiannon stayed strong. She's been a strong character. I really love the
Mhm.
friendship development that's happened because at first, I don't know if you remember, I was very leery about it, but it
Yeah.
seems to have grown and Rhiannon survived and it seems to still be there. But now that they're introducing a new friendship, I'm worried that Liam is playing just this role, a limited role, and his role is just to maybe gain the trust of Violet towards the rebels. And I just hope nothing happens to him because I think he's a genuinely good guy.
I agree. It just makes me sad, but
I know.
so
Well,
thank you for that. I really love his development as a character.
yes.
So, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But like we mentioned, we are excited about doing new books. And we've kind of decided, I think it's best to chunk the rest of this book into one last episode. So we're leaving off at starting at chapter 26, and we're going to read through the end of the book for our next segment. So the next time that you join us, it'll be chapters 26 through the end of the book. I'm excited to see the ending. I think it'll be good.
It's going to be good. It's a good book so far. It's going to be great.
Yes, yeah, I have no doubts about it.
So as we close today's chapter, remember this. Whether you were escaping for comfort, courage, or just a little quiet, books are always waiting for us. So until next time, keep turning those pages, and don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, all the things. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube and Instagram. I'm Jess.
And I'm Danny.
And this is Foxtails.